What's going on, guys? Dustin here with another Star Trek, the official Starships collection from Eagle Moss. Today we are taking a look at the Xindi Insectoid Warship. I originally was supposed to get around to this Saturday, first thing, but I didn't get a chance to because I had things. I had work. I had a birthday party, which officially went south for some reasons. It didn't go exactly planned. And my sister's wedding, which was earlier today. And I just want to make one more announcement. If you see something that looks like this, it's spam. It's a scam. I just want to give people a heads up before they click on this stuff. Because if you don't, too late, man. Because stuff like this does not work. Anyway, enough on that. Let's go ahead and get this underway. Alright, today we are taking a look at the Xindi Insectoid Warship, launched in 22nd century with a length of 150 meters. The registry number, it does not have any. It was made by the Xindi Insectoid. The origin was the Expanse. I have no earthly idea what the Expanse is. I've never heard of it. Length of 150 meters. Subspace vortex drive and impulse engines uses propulsion and particle cannons and torpedoes. I wonder what makes this ship so big and bad and mean. So let's get on it. The Insectoids operate some of the toughest, most heavily armed ships in the Xindi fleet. The Xindi actually posed such a threat to Earth in the 22nd century. Made up of 5 distinctive species, each of which operated their own design of warp-capable starships. The Insectoids are the most aggressive species, and their 22nd century ships were heavily armed particle cannons and torpedoes. The warships often operate in groups of 3, largest and most powerful of their vessels. They were more powerful than the Orbital or Primate vessels, although they are outgunned by the Aquatics. In the data feed, the Xindi Insectoid ships maintained a oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere that can support human life, but the interior of the ships is warmer and most humid than most humans found comfortable. Like all Xindi vessels, the Insectoid warships didn't use conventional warp engines. They rely on advanced drive that can open a vortex in subspace by firing a modified deflector pulse. Once outside it, which was effectively a subspace corridor that closely resembles to a transwarp corridor that could travel up to speeds in the excess of warp 9, but these corridors were extremely unstable, and the Insectoid ships can use them travel only a few light years before they can collapse. Exiting the vortices could be dangerous, and it wasn't unheard of for a ship's engines to be damaged as vortex collapsed. That damage can be serious enough to disable a ship and kill the crew. These ships are extremely tough, highly maneuverable, but they do have a weakness. A small multi-impulse manifold on the underside of the ship was inadequately shielded and could be, if it was targeted, the ship would be disabled. In this one, while en route to Xindi Prime, the crew of the Enterprise NX-01 found a crashed Xindi Insectoid ship that appeared to be damaged by leaving a subspace vortex. I'm sorry if it was a little bit up like that, but the only survivors were a series of egg sacs that were the most protected part of the ship. The adult crew had sacrificed themselves by diverting all remaining power to support their unborn young. The Xindi Insectoids were closely allied with the reptilians, and their ships often operated together. One timeline tracked down the only surviving humans in an effort to wipe them from history. That's a Intrepid class ship. We will take a look at that one day. The Warship carried a smaller sized shuttle attack ship in this hangar that could be operated by a single crewman. These ships were extremely tough and heavily armed. Oh god. I can't take that face seriously. A mysterious transdimensional race manipulated the Xindi into believing that Earth would destroy them. At first, all the Xindi believed that they were told. Over some time, some of the Xindi species started to have doubts. The insectoids were among the most aggressive and were ready to dismiss the evidence that the humans presented to the Xindi Council. However, a devastating weapon approached Earth. Even the insectoids voiced doubts, leading their reptilian allies to turn on them. Now, here's the ship. Big ship. Short-lived, Dr. Flock calculated Xindis has a lifespan of approximately 12 years. It's not clear how at what point they matured. Adults as old as 10 were serving on board their warships. Xindi opened vortices or corridors subspace by firing deflector pulse. So-called Guardians helped the Xindis after the different Xindi species had destroyed their home planet in the Civil War. They guided the survivors to a new planet and helped them to develop technology, and in return, Xindi revered them. Y'all know where I'm going with this. Designing this ship. Once Star Trek Enterprise entered its third season, producers want to push things into a newer direction. They would actually experiment in a series-long story arc, meaning the new enemy, a new alien race, the Xindi. Usual race that was made of 5 different species. Each of them has their own unique look and their unique ships. The color rendering of the final design was approved by Rick Berman and Brandon Brago before it's sent over to the Edena FX. This is actually what we're looking at, but there's some earlier concepts. This was a early first concept. Had the elements of the finished design. There were much longer arms or legs. That was actually inspired by a king crab. John Eaves remembers, there was only going to be one particular race of Xindi, but by the time that the script came out, we were going to do a multiple version, kind of like people from different countries. Not necessarily different skin colors, but completely different species of creatures. Like, let's say, insectoids, humanoids, and so on. Insectoid and humanoid species were the first ones we started working with. So let's take a look at this one. For the initial design, he's actually produced this drawing that was established in the last episode of the previous season, which was season 2. You have the Enterprise right here, the Warship in a spear. I've never seen this before. Cutting back on it, he's actually produced an initial concept drawing that showed a long, thin ship with arms that had 3 joints. He actually presented alongside a drawing that showed the Insectoid ship along with the Enterprise and the spherical Xindi weapon that attacked Earth. So this is what we're basically looking at, is a Xindi weapon spear. But they requested one change. Specifically, he wanted to shorten the really long arms, so they pull back. Still has that knuckle, but pulls back to a smaller point. This is actually a final concept. It was actually approved with unusual few drawings. Second final pass, Eve's simply shortened the arms, giving the ship much more of a compact and muscular design. Later in third season, the crew discovered a Xindi Insectoid warship crashed on the surface of the planet, which we look back on. But the visual effects team producers want to show the team how the producers want the ship look like when it crashed. And now, making the Xindi Insectoids. Now, you've seen Spock's Vulcaneers before, but Star Trek had used prosthetics to create alien races, but for the third season of Star Trek Enterprise, visual effects technology had advanced to the point where the series could regularly feature digital creatures that no one can mistake for a man in a suit. From the very beginning, executive producers Rick Berman and Brandon Buck planned to make two of the Xindi races, the Aquatics and the Insectoids, fully computer graphic creatures. Here's what it looks like. The head. The Xindi Insectoids were completely created in CG and digitally added to the scenes. Creating them involved a team of people to actors to animators. This is one of the earlier renders of the Insectoid head with basic textures by John Teskas. This basically takes let's say the head of an eye and a body of an ant, but without the abdomen. The Insectoid began a live sketch produced by visual effects producer Dan Curry, who actually took that inspiration from ants and flies. As we all know, flies don't bite. There are some that do. Let's say black flies, for example. This guy, oh man. Whenever a insectoid appear on screen, the visual effects actually had an actor on stage who dressed in a suit gave them reference to all different movements. And then the lines on this gave then FX the reference they need to animate the creature, which was done by moving a wireframe skeleton under the flesh. Now the basic animation of the Insectoid is created to match the actor's performances. It's placed on a background where the actor is no longer in the shot. And the last step was create the creature in Foley resolution, making sure that the CG lighting matched up the lighting on the set. Scary. Now, the script from the episode Hatchery called for the baby insectoids. It also created as CG models, and so Dan Curry returned to his original concept and created what's called a Bambified version. Tesca created this CG version of the sketch and worked out how the baby insectoid would move around. And the final step was to render a fully rendered version of the insectoid baby, so it would crawl all over Scott Bakula and, in this case, meet a sad fate. And they died so young. And on screen, first appearance was Twilight. 12 years in the future, mankind has been all but wiped out by the Xindi. The few survivors made their home on SETI Alpha 5, where they're hiding from their deadly enemy. Enterprise's crew had led humanity there, but Archer is a cripple. When the crew were looking for Xindi in the Expanse, he suffered brain damage that left him unable to add to his memories. T'Pol and Phlox have a plan to restore him, but before they can put it into action, a group of Xindi reptilian warships appeared and launched a final attack. If you don't know Twilight, it's very well known of the Earth being destroyed. In Hatchery, the crew are following their best lead as search for Xindi weapons that they spot on a warship crash on the surface of the planet. When they investigate, they discover that the Insectoid crew are all dead, but that they have planted eggs inside the ship that are almost ready to hatch. After one of the eggs sprays Archer with some kind of chemical, he starts to become obsessed with the egg's safety. And when T'Pol ejects him, he actually accuses her of mutiny. John Ames designed the Xindi Insectoid ships to fly with two arms, pointing up and one pointing down. But when it came to creating a shot, the FX team decided that the ship would look cool if it was spun around. As a result, the Xindi Insectoid appeared every possible orientation. Of course, in space there's no such thing as up and down, so the same issue should apply to every ship in Star Trek. If you don't know the jellyfish from the 2009 Star Trek, that's what it basically was. The first on-screen appearance was of the Insectoid Warship never happened. It made its debut in the episode Twilight, which was set in an alternate future. Yeah, this is an alternate future. Not Captain Kirk's time. Not the alternate reality timeline when the USS Kelvin was destroyed by the Narada. Archer is forced to resign as captain of the Enterprise. Once timeline was reset, the crew had no memory of the Insectoid warship, which next appeared in Hatchery. But this time when we saw it crash on the planet's surface, the crew finally got to see an Insectoid warship in flight in the next episode, Azadi Prime. Alright, the next issue is the USS Prometheus NX 59650. We may take a look at the in-depth profile of the USS Prometheus, which was Starfleet's advanced warship that is designed to split into three. Howard Sternbach designed Prometheus, which was originally planned to split into 5. I've never seen that before. And here's the back. Put this magazine off to the side. And here we have our warship. I gotta say, I actually like this ship. And what actually gives it away is it's actually the polish. Actually, that polish coloring, the steel, it looked amazing. I've seen I reviewed the Romulan Warbird way back in November. It was like perfectly green, but this one has really taken the bait. And yes, it does have 3 arms, and this is actually the largest adversary ship I have ever had for the Star Trek Starships line. I don't think any other can top it. Actually, I like the use of the turquoise, actually like a light turquoise blue here and here. Actually use the translucent blue some parts. I actually like the way they actually gave it a much of a weathering. Make it look like it's been through space. And what I actually like is the back. And I don't know what happened, but I think these two guys are loose. I think these two fins are loose. I don't know why, what happened. This one's not moving at all. These two are just loose. I don't know why, what happened. And this one tends to rotate. That's not normal. And that's my... And any bad things about it? Well, yes, those two things. If you have a insectoid warship, make sure you notice about these back fins here. This one tends not to move. These two actually do, so keep a lookout. It actually sits nice on this display stand. I actually like the way this actually opens up. So, it looks pretty cool. It's actually now my second favorite adversary ship. Next, but of course my first favorite is the Romulan Warbird. So that's all I have to say right now. My name is Dustin, and I will see you later.